So please give a warm, roundly Santa Cruz-y welcome to the Mayor of Santa Cruz, Cindy Matthews.
I know some of you were here last night and you heard some of this, but I have to tell you, I have late breaking news. There's more information. So it's true that Santa Cruz did pass an ordinance in 1912 banning ragging. It was not the playing of ragtime music, it was the dancing to the ragtime music that was the problem. And so I did some research, and I should back up a little bit and say, we learned about this because of an email we got a couple weeks ago from Ron Odell. Is that I got the right name? Yes. Who emailed the city clerk and said, I read that there was an ordinance against ragging, and could I get the text of it? And our city clerk did not know about this, and so she sent her people down in the basement, and they found these old bound books, and they actually found the text of the ordinance, and did a scan and sent it back, and then this was news, and so we asked the city attorney, is this in the municipal code? And he checked, and no, it's not. So that was the interesting thing, and he said there's no record of it having actually been rescinded. So it's just out there in limbo somewhere. So then did more research and found that with the, as you guys all know, with the development of ragtime music, it inspired a new kind of dancing, and it was the dancing that was such a problem. And so there were, in the around 1910 to 14, ordinances passed all over the country against this because it was described as the dancing caused an uproar in public society, polite society with its shaking, jogging, and jerking, ugly, wiggly moves. So this was a problem. So the city of Santa Cruz on July 9th passed an ordinance, and I'm just going to read a little bit. Sorry for those of you who've heard it, but it is nice. So it shall be unlawful after this ordinance goes into effect for any person to dance or participate in the dancing at any public gathering or assemblage in the city of Santa Cruz of any dances commonly known as the turkey trot, Texas Tommy, grizzly bear, bunny hug, or any of the other dances similar in character to said dances, or any dances commonly known as ragging. They're trying to cover all the bases here. And then section 2, and this is what gets kind of interesting. It's unlawful not just to do the dancing, but for any person, firm, or corporation to permit any person to dance or permit dancing, blah, 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 on any building, in any building, or upon any floor in the city of Santa Cruz, over which building or floor such person, firm, or corporation may have control. Now, those of you who live in Santa Cruz know that we do have a big amusement feature at our beach, which has been there since the early 1900s, and for which the casino was a big draw. And for those of you who are just visiting here, it's our boardwalk in Coconut Grove. So, big deal then. So, anyway, the city council passed this in the morning. And by the evening, it was in the Santa Cruz Evening News. This is, so I sent this to local historian Jeff Dunn. You know, last night I went home, I said, Jeff, did you know about this? And he wrote me back and he said, oh, yes. And he sent me all these other great clippings. So here it is. He's wonderful. So here we have ragging hereafter has no place in Santa Cruz. Drastic ordinance adopted this morning drives the last nail in the coffin of vicious evil. I told you I had more material. Okay, Commissioner Jones wallops his desk and says the council took the lead throughout in drawing up this morning's ordinance. So it turns out that there was a great deal of pressure, over 150 people, and that's a big number in Santa Cruz at the turn of that century. 150 people, including representatives from the Pennsylvania Avenue Methodist Church, the First Methodist Church, the Unitarian Church, the Episcopal Church, and the WCTU. And they're all asking that ragging be outlawed. So the council did it. And they were very clear. It was our doing. We are doing this. And it's all politics are local. Isn't that great? And the mayor says, I would like to make it plain. This ordinance emanated from the council first. We did not have to wait for any organization to tell us to do it. So that's what happened. Went into effect, was passed. A year later, there's an actual arrest made. Arrest for ragging is made under new local ordinance. So the first complaint came against Rudy Casper, a summer visitor from San Jose. That's kind of our pattern here, you know.
Valley, go home!
He was the son of a well-known local person from San Jose. This is what's interesting. It had a chilling effect. We know that legal term, the chilling effect. It had a chilling effect on business at the boardwalk. So you have Fred Swanton, who was the developer of the boardwalk, general manager of the beach company, said this afternoon, as a result of the local ordinance on the subject of ragging and the doubt in the minds of pleasure seekers as to how that ordinance would be interpreted by the local police, dancing at the casino this year has been ruined. Where the floor used to be crowded with young people, there is now practically nobody there in the evening. So it was clearly a disaster. And we don't know. There's no record of it being rescinded or what. So there, that ordinance just stands on the books. I do have to say also, since you asked, the question was, did they go to jail? So this guy, you know, he gets called in front of the judge, and if this girl that he was dancing with, who was from a nice San Francisco family, and they were just here visiting, if they had been called up as witnesses, it would have been dismissed. But he wanted to spare her the mortification. And so Mr. Swanton, that's the manager of the boardwalk, says, the young woman with whom Casper was dancing was a highly respectable San Francisco girl, and such was the embarrassment of mother and daughter that they were about to leave the city of Santa Cruz with their friends. It was a bad memory. But I did want to also mention, Jeff just sent me all this great stuff in less than 24 hours. And this is what's so interesting. Meanwhile, in Oakland, here's a whole big article. The chief of police is invited to a big ragging event, and he sees no harm in the ragging dance. Oakland, California, Captain of Police Charles Bach has come to the defense of the turkey trot, the bunny hug, the Texas Tommy, and other dances. And it's probable that the dance clubs will now come out boldly in their ambition to do the dip, the glide, and the trot, and may even invite officers of the police department to attend. And Captain Bach goes on to say, I'll get off on this stuff. So this is the police chief of Oakland saying at pretty much the same time, there were some real graceful dancers there. Captain Bach said laughingly, I saw many of the more prominent people in the city and they were all ragging. I could see no particular harm. I could not see where I had the authority to order several hundred dancers out of the hall, and they were certainly enjoying themselves. So there you have two worlds. So the thing is that what we have now is there's still this ordinance floating out there. So I did consult with a city attorney, and I have to say our retired city manager is in the audience here somewhere, so I'll let him know. And so I got clearance to issue a mayor's proclamation. And what this mayor's proclamation says, a lot of warehouses, but over the course of the past century, since the adoption of ordinance number 1033, cultural customs and norms have gradually evolved to the extent that in the present day, The aforementioned dances, if performed in moderation, no longer constitute a significant threat to public health, safety, and welfare. And also, Ordinance 1033 has, in the passage of time, disappeared entirely from the city's municipal code and can no longer be located. So therefore, I, Cynthia Matthews, as the mayor, hereby proclaim that Ordinance 1033 shall be de facto suspended citywide from this point on. And also, I am declaring February 27 and 28 as Santa Cruz Ragtime Festival weekend in the city of Santa Cruz. So and I just want to add my thanks to Kylan for being the prime mover in all this, to all the organizers, volunteers, performers. You have given a gift, I know, to your ragtime community and a gift to the city of Santa Cruz. And I hope this becomes an annual celebration here. So thank you.